Nehemiah tells the leaders in the 11th verse, restore now to them, even this day, their lands, their vineyards, their groves, their olive groves, and their houses, and also 100th of the money and the grain, the new wine and the oil that you have charged them. So he says, now it's time. And what we're talking about on the previous section is we're talking about Jubilee. In the economic system of the Mosaic Covenant, every 50th year, every piece of property that had been sold, you have to realize that the property belonged to God. It didn't belong to Israel. And God had brought them in out of Egypt, set them in the land after 40 years, and told them to push out all of the Ite brothers that were there, take possession of the land. He had divided it so that Judah and Benjamin and I can't think of any of the names of the other tribes, but there's 12 of them, okay? And each one had their own section, but it really didn't belong to them. They knew that the land belonged to God. And they were to live in the land. They were to eat of the bounty of the land. It was a land of milk and honey, and they were going to have a great time. But part of it was going to be is that every 50th year there was going to be a forgiving of debt. So if you had a piece of property that you needed to borrow money on, and it was the 40th year of the cycle, you knew that you would pay on whatever was lent to you for 10 years, and then it was going to come back to you anyway, or come back into your family on the 50th year. The problem is that Israel never observed the Jubilee. They always had an excuse why not to. They always had a religious person that really started to, let's twist this a little bit, and we can't do this. I mean, God really didn't mean that, did he? So, they never really did it. And that was one of the reasons why they went into captivity, because they did not keep the Jubilees. So the land laid fallow for the 70 years because they had missed 70 Jubilees. So for 70 years, the land had laid fallow while they were out into exile, gone to Babylon. And now we come back, and the people have been taking advantage of one another, and it doesn't say this, and I have not heard any commentator bring this up, but it's almost like Nehemiah says, you know what, boys? This is a good time for a Jubilee. This is but wait a minute, it's not 50 years. Wait, that doesn't matter. I think we could have a good opportunity to say, let's have a Jubilee. Restore now to them. We've already spoken. We've already talked. Okay? They were silenced and found nothing to say. They didn't have, we did it because, no. Shh. Restore now to them, even this day, watch this, their lands, their vineyards, their olive groves, and their houses. Let's give them back to them. It's a holiday. It's not a bad thing. We're coming into divine adjustment. We're coming back into order. And all we're doing is just proclaiming a Jubilee. And remember, that's my idea. Don't go out and say, he said, That's just the way it looks like to me. Also, 100th of the money and the grain. 100th of the money is what? Yes, sirree, you're right. It's 1%. Apparently, they were charging them 1% a month, 12% a year, And it kept on setting the people back over and over again. It's like that credit card that we extend out there way too much sometimes. And then the bill comes and we're just paying the minimum. So we can keep on using the card, or so that the bill collector doesn't come knocking on our door. So we're just paying the minimum. And as you're paying the minimum, you keep on noticing that balance keeps growing over. Well, I keep paying it and I keep paying it. And you never catch up. He said, well, we're gonna give them back their money at interest. All this money, we're going to take away, it was illegal anyway, proceeds that you had, and we're going to give it back to them. Also, 100th of the money and the grain, the new wine and the oil that you have charged them. So beyond giving them their land, their vineyards, their houses, their olive groves, he says, we're going to restore unto them a certain percentage of what you guys have been getting over the time. Oh, that's the squeeze. That's when that's when it hurts. It was fun while it lasted. But now the party's over and it's cleanup time. Where's everybody? You know how that goes. You're looking around. Well, where's everybody? We're having a good time. I pulled out all the brooms and the mops and everything. And, now you got to put the tables and chairs away by yourself and clean up the mess. So they said, verse 12, we will restore it and will require nothing from them. So, now they're starting to say, okay, we'll if that's what it's going to take, that's what it's going to take. We will restore it. We will require nothing from them. Well, hey, you've stolen from them, and all we're doing is asking you to give it back. But, okay, we get it. Nice guys. We will require nothing from them. We will do as you say. Then I called a priest and required an oath from them that they would do according to this promise. Okay, they said they're going to do it. Now let's get some of the legal guys. The religious guys over here. Let's get the priests over here and let's say it. Put your hand on the Bible. We're going to make sure. Take out the camera. We gotta capture this moment. Beautiful moment. Look how cute Then I called the priest and required an oath from them that they would do according to this promise. So he is making sure that it's not just lip service that they're giving. He understands. He understands that this is a big step that they're taking. But he also understands that this is a necessary step for them. It's something that they have to do. It's something that they have to, there's a lesson. Hello? There's a lesson to be learned here. We gotta, sometimes it hurts. Yes, sometimes coming into divine order in our lives hurts, but it's something that if you're really serious, it has to be done. Then Nehemiah shook out the fold of his garment. Verse 13, then I shook out the fold of my garment and said, so may God shake out each man from his house and from his property who does not perform this promise. So he has a little bit of a visual for them, and he gets his garment and he probably snaps it like you would a towel, and just, and he snaps his garment and says, may God do the same to those who do not perform this promise. You've told me about it. Now you've told the priest. We have the oath from you. Then I called the priest and required an oath from them. Then I shook out the folds of my garment and said, so may God shake out each man from his house and from his property who does not perform this promise. Even thus he may be shaken out and emptied. And all the assembly said, Amen, and praised the Lord. Then the people did according to this promise.